My mic was muted. I do that every single time. So, NorCal Carters, NorCal Mondays. It is July 22nd. And tonight we have a special show for you. We have the first round of our safety series. So tonight we have Phil Hand on and we have Mark Fox on. If you don't know who Phil Hand is, he's the guy that waves a flag in the middle of a track, has some crazy socks. And we're going to go over flags. We're going to go over basic safety when it comes to flags and stuff like that. But Ashley and I have a couple of housekeeping items. She was at Prairie City this past weekend for the night race over at, I said Prairie City. I always get confused because it's All-Star Karting, it's Prairie City, but both point to the same direction. All-Star Karting at Prairie City. So Ashley was up there, and I was actually down in Santa Maria for the Rock Cup USA, Rock Pacific event, and I was able to beat the heat. It was like 75, 80 degrees, while Ashley was near my place, and it was probably 100, 105. So, yeah, sorry. I just inhaled a bucket of ice cream, and I didn't drink enough water. With that being said, quick recap. Santa Maria. So, there's no way to hide it. They were a little disappointed with the numbers. But I will tell you what. The racing action and the prizes they gave away were fantastic. The VLR senior class, they had I think they had 10 official on race day by the time it came around. They gave away a VLR engine on Saturday. They gave it away to a gentleman named Eric Delaney because all he had to do was pre-register by the deadline, and 9 other people had to pre-register by the deadline, and that happened with VLR Senior. And Rock Cup USA still gave away the VLR engine. They still gave away full Rock Vegas tickets for all classes that were Rock powered. So even the class that had one entry, that kid earned a full entry, tires, fuel for Rock Vegas. The Briggs class, there was 2 entries. They gave away 4 sets of tires for 2 entries. They also gave away RLV gift certificates. So they're working on the program to grow the numbers. Everyone there was very happy with how the program was run. We actually got done 45 minutes early on Team Visalia. I'm trying to do a podcast. We actually got done on Sunday 45 minutes early, thanks to all the racers that were they were at the grid on time. They communicated well if they were running a little bit late, and we just made the announcements like, hey, let's get you on the road early. It's Sunday. Let's go. So, yeah, we were actually able to get racers on the road early Sunday by 45 minutes. That was great. Let's see what else. Oh, some of the highlights. I have to give a couple of shout outs to Aiden Kempf. One for the pass of the weekend. For those that are familiar with Santa Maria, going into turn 6, he set up Ryan Persing on the outside. They went side by side. He stuck it on the outside, cleared him by the time they made it to the end of the track. But you know what? Huge shout out to Ryan Persing. He even said it. I did an interview with him. He was caught a little bit off guard by the pass, but he gave Aiden the room. He gave him the room, left him on the track. A lot of us probably would have ran Aiden really wide over the berm or into the dirt. And, Ryan left him left him enough room to make that pass happen. And then come back Sunday. It was Ryan Persing, Aiden Kempf, and Yoshim Kapoor nonstop, all race long, dicing for that lead. And it really came down to whoever won on Sunday was going to win the big Rock Vegas prize of the entry, the tires, the fuel. That was first place. Second place was an entry only. And then third place, they called a wild card. So the wild card was a full, not Vegas, a full Rock entry to any Rock sanctioned event that is not Vegas. So that happened in every Rock class. So they gave out a lot of prizes. There was a lot of really good racing, even though the numbers were small. So I just kept telling everybody, if you're happy with what Rock is doing, bring a friend to the next one. If everyone in VLR brings a friend, they go from 10 to 20. It's like that simple. Bring a friend if you're happy with what they're doing. If you're not happy with what they're doing, give your feedback to Mike Burrell. The staff is pretty open to criticism if it's fair, and if you're actually a participant. So, but yeah, so that was a lot of fun down at Santa Maria. Did we lose Ashley? I think we did. I have to scan through my notes real quick. Oh yeah, and then also a shout out to Kevin Bailey and Ryan Kasner. Again, there's only a few Briggs guys out there, but for the mains on Saturday and Sunday and a couple of the heat races, they were dicing back and forth every lap. Really good, clean racing. So that was fun to watch. In the VLR class, Ryan actually got into a guy, pushed him off the track, slowed down, pointed the guy back by, and I talked to him afterwards. I go, what happened? And he goes, I just went in a little hot. I moved the guy out of the way. So I pointed him back by. So that way the guy didn't lose a spot, and they tried to chase down the rest of the field. So yeah, that was Santa Maria. And then also the fun part of Santa Maria, we have some new nicknames that are coming out of that race. So if you hear me mention someone named Steve, you had to be present to win to get it. But a lot of laughs with the cadet kids. One of the cadet kids said, if you keep messing up my name, I'm going to start calling you Gason. So that was a pretty good laugh. And yeah, so that was my Santa Maria experience, and also great food. Ashley, give me a thumbs up if you're ready. No. All right. Give me a moment while I scan Ashley's notes, because I'm always told I can only have 5 minutes for my intro. So, yeah, that was Santa Maria. August 3rd is going to be Rock Cup USA. Also, if you go to NorCalCarters.com, go on the events or calendar tab, click on that. That has all the upcoming events for the tracks and promoters that are supporting what we're doing here at NorCal Carters, and their schedules are on NorCalCarters.com. I know we have Kinsman Kart Club coming up. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Ashley in the background on the side camera, and it looks like she just fell off of her chair. So yeah, there's a lot of information on NorCal Carters, and give me one moment. I wasn't expecting to bring it up, but I will.
All right.
Hold on, Ashley. Let's see. Kinsman Kart Club this weekend, 27th and the 28th. Rock Sonoma, we have August 3rd and the 4th, Rock Sonoma. Northern Nevada Kart Club we have on the 28th. And it sounds like Ashley's ready to rock. Yes?
All right. I am ready. Hello, NorCal. And yes, I did fall out of my chair. Thank you, Jason, for making that announcement. All right. Well, so NorCal Mondays, this is going to be a safety series. We're going to be talking about flags today and safety gear. The next couple episodes, we're going to be talking about things at the track. And hey, Angie. And we're going to be talking about things that are going on at the track and procedures that happen during the race day. Okay. And we are going to have an expert coming on for that. I just have to confirm I did talk to him today, though. So Jason talked a little bit about Rock Sonoma. Oh, yes. I was in Prairie City over the weekend. I was in the scoring tower, so I didn't really get to see a lot of people, and I wasn't in my normal spot, but I was there, and we did have one note that the announcer, Roman, wanted me to put out there to everyone, but he wants more efforts with the lights, people. It's a night race. We only had a couple in each class that put lights on their carts. So Roman made sure to give them a lot of shout outs because they were the ones that he could see. So if you're going to the next Prairie City race, Roman, the announcer, is requesting more efforts on the lights, people. I can't do his accents, but you know what I'm talking about. Going into that, it was a great weekend, though. We had a lot of good races. We had two large classes that were fun to watch. Senior 206, always fun to watch. And I believe it was junior 1 or junior. Yeah, I believe it was junior 1 or junior 2. That was also large. Phil will be able to kind of comment on that when he comes on. But again, I was in scoring, so I was watching a little bit differently over the weekend, but had a lot of fun. It was hot, yes. And the sun didn't go down until a little bit later than we anticipated or expected. So, but we made the best of it. We had mains and we had lights thanks to River City Rentals. So, thanks for helping us out with that. We are going to be bringing up our guests. So, speaking of Sonoma and Prairie City, these two are very familiar at both places, and they'll tell us a little bit more about other series that they are working with. So here we go. We're going to get into it, but everybody knows our guy in NorCal, Phil Hand. So I'm going to bring up Phil Hand. Here comes Phil. All right, your mic's muted, Phil.
How's it going?
All right, this is Phil Hand. Phil, tell us, what series do you work with?
So I work with my hometown is Prairie City. I've been flagging at Prairie City since 2010, and I've been to Blue Max, Kinsman. I work at Sonoma. I've done the NorCal Sprint Kart Series, traveled all over the West Coast. I've done some stuff for SCUSA Pro Tour, a couple of them on this side of on the West Coast, and then I did some stuff with Rock, doing some stuff over in Sonoma. So I've pretty much worked everywhere on the West Coast.
Perfect. So Phil definitely knows what we're talking about in NorCal over here with the flag situation and kind of things that we need to go over for sure. The other guy that we are going to bring up, our other special guest, is Mark Fox.
Yep. Hi. Thanks for having
Mark.
me. Hi, guys.
All right, Mark, tell us, what series do you work for?
I'm working at 3 series right now as well. I'm helping out while Mike recovers, race directing at the Sonoma Rock races, and I'm race directing at Blue Max, and I am sort of a jack of all trades for Gauntlet PC. PC is my home track, and I do pre-grid and whatever else he needs me to do. That's the 3 I'm working on right now.
All right. Wow.
Take the camera away.
Thank you, guys. All right. So next question I'm going to ask is, let's talk about the importance of safety in go-kart racing. So why is this a topic that we are talking about, and what's the importance of it? We'll start with Phil, and then we'll go to Mark, and then if Jason wants to chime in, you can chime in at any time. Josh is on too, so race director questions.
To answer your question, Ashley, I think that the reason we're talking about this is because there's a lot of people coming into the sport right now. Seems like it's growing quite a bit here in NorCal. And there's more kids, a lot of junior ones, junior one pilots, kid karts. And the parents really want to see their kids safe when they are at the track. It's a dangerous sport, and they want to see their kids safe and learn the safe way. And there's been a lot of people have seen the way stuff has happened when people aren't exactly sure what to do at the track. And when there's people that know what they're doing, it's a little different. And so people kind of want that all over the place. So that's why it's a topic right now. It'd be nice to get consistency everywhere with the same scenarios and flags and lingo, I guess, would be.
I agree. I think it's hugely important for those of us looking to grow this sport that parents come in knowing that people are looking after their kids and know what they're doing looking after their kids so that they can feel safe. I tell a lot of them, I was involved with Little League for years and years in my younger life, and I saw plenty of kids get hurt in that. But the kinetic energy in our sport is different, and the potential is there. So we have to make them feel like we're doing everything we can to mitigate that. And if, God forbid, the worst thing happens, we're able to handle it. There.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to add to that a little bit too, it's honestly you guys can't cover everything on a race day. Otherwise, your safety meetings would be 3 hours long, and if they're that long, there's so much information. So this is a good platform where people can go back to it and reference it and go, oh, what does that flag mean? What's a blue with the white stripe or a yellow stripe? What is this? What is that? So yeah, it's a lot of information. And somebody said
it is a lot of information.
I'd like to see. It's the only way to communicate with the driver.
I was gonna bring up that
flag
point
thing.
too.
I'd like to see a bunch of flags, signs at all the tracks that are all pretty much the same. That shows a big picture. Kinsman has one on their container.
Yes.
Stockton has one there, and I've seen them at a few different places. But if we just have to flood our community with that kind of information, so everywhere they look, they see it. Everyone can know. The spectators can see it. The racers can see it. It's always in their eyes, and that would make a big difference if that was available to everybody. If it was just in their face all the time.
If someone wants to sponsor that, NorCal Karters will head it up. Do them on like 4x8 pieces of plywood with your company logo. Here's the flags.
It's very simple and very information. Good information.
Yeah.
But I was also gonna say too, the reason that it was kind of brought to my attention is because we've been doing a lot of kart schools with the younger drivers, and they've been doing them. Phil's been doing them at Blue Max with Karting Life, and Josh has been doing them at CCKRA with our club. So we are wanting to go over this because what we're seeing is, although yes, we have a black flag and people reference it a lot, and you know, the kids know that it's bad type thing. They don't really know what it means, and sometimes we've had kids or even adults come off the track after just getting a rolled black. So again, we're going to talk about all that today, and kind of discuss the difference between all of the flags. So if we want to get into that, let's dive in. But you can put questions for Mark and Phil in the chat, or Jason and I too as well. But yeah, we'll get into the flags, and we'll actually see who knows as much as we'll see who knows all of them. And don't and be honest too. If you're missing one, give yourself a check mark. You know, because we need to learn these things. But Okay, I'm going to tuck my teacher back in. But here we go. Let's talk about flags. So, Phil, what are the purpose of the flags?
The purpose of the flags is to let the drivers know exactly what's going on. There's several flags that mean different things. Just a quick general is everybody. Well, I won't say everybody because not everybody, but green flag is the start of a race. Then you have a white flag, which is 1 lap to go. You got checkered flag, it would be the finish of the race. There's other flags that are used in between, which are usually pertaining a safety issue or something, which is a yellow flag, which means there's an issue on the track that people need to slow down and not pass. We have the blue flag with the yellow stripe through it, which is you've got faster carts coming up behind you. Just maintain your speed and they will pass you accordingly.
Hey, Phil, where's your flags?
The red flag. What's that?
Where's your flags?
We're
There
gonna
we
go
go.
through
Let's show them. Let's show them.
Here.
They're never far from me.
I have to look at them. I have to look. They're staring. We're looking at each other right
We'll
now.
put you on the big screen and start showing the flags. I want some visuals
Yeah,
here.
we'll do that. So let's start with green.
All right.
What? Green flag.
So green flag.
So we got
means
green
go.
flag. We're
Green
gonna
flag
do
means
green
go.
flag means go. The
Hit the
course
fast
is
pedal.
clear.
Means the race has started.
The race has started. Yep. And then we'll have the white flag, which 1 lap to go. That's courtesy flag. Don't always get that. Depends on how crazy the racing is. We'll have a checkered flag, which is the end of the race, which I covered already. We'll have the black flag, which Jason knows well. He sees that all the time.
Only on
That
my
means
shifter
that
starts.
you
Oh,
have been doing something that you shouldn't have been doing, and you've probably been warned with a rolled black flag. And more than likely, I do have a number panel, so everybody it's not misinterpreted. I can throw the cart number on my number panel with the black flag, so you don't have a number of carts thinking it was them or somebody trying to play dumb and be like, "Oh, I didn't know it was me." It's very clear with the number panel. We have the blue flag with the yellow stripe. That is for the carts that are going a little slower than the faster carts at the front of the pack, and that means just to be cautious. They're coming.
Show the blue flag again. You went pretty fast on that one. Blue, yellow stripe. There you go.
Blue, the yellow stripe. There's some that have an orange stripe. It's pretty much the same thing. Most of them around the go-kart tracks will be the yellow stripe. And that's that the leaders are coming up behind you quickly. And I will generally, I've been doing this lately, is throwing up some fingers with it. And a lot of people have been acknowledging that also. And then we've been practicing that a lot with the little kids at Prairie City a lot. And it's been working out really, really well, especially in the kid carts and the Junior 1 pilots. We have the black flag with the red spot in the middle. That's a mechanical black flag. The number panel comes in handy with that also. That way if there's somebody in a group of carts racing, I can throw the number panel and the mechanical black flag out. It's usually saying like a bumper's off, or maybe they got something flying off the back of the cart that they don't know, a strap of their rib protector. So that's what the mechanical black flag is for. It's not that you've done anything wrong. It's there's an issue with your cart, and we need you to exit the track as soon as you can. Red flag, very important. A lot of people don't know what to do with the red flag. That one needs to be explained a lot more. I don't like to use it. We almost had one this weekend, but luckily we didn't have to use it. But the red flag basically means that something as bad has happened on the track. We need to get all the carts stopped so we can address the situation at hand. And most of the time, I've been pretty fortunate with getting the red flag out before it causes any more incidences. Like I said, a lot of people don't really know what to do. don't rarely get to practice what to do on a red flag. I can explain to them, but unless you're in that situation, it's really hard to understand unless you actually do it or see it done. So that one, I don't like to pull it out because usually a lot of stuff
kind of
happens.
hold on, Phil. I'm gonna kind of explain a red flag as well. So
All right.
I'm reading 2 rule books. I have the IKF rule book and I have the NKA rule book. Okay. So IKF rule book lists the red flag. This is section 109 flags that says stop, the race is halted, and a red flag is mandatory when any cart rolls over or any driver is ejected from his cart. All right. NKA goes further into detail with that. And the reason that I'm reading both is because both of these are the insurers of NorCal. So NKA is saying that the red flag shall be displayed when an unsafe condition exists on the track, such as a serious incident, an inverted cart, dangerous conditions, the failure of a competitor to comply with a black flag, or other reasons deemed necessary by the race director. Okay, so that is exactly what it says from the book. If there's any questions about that, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we will have a special guest that can clarify probably in the next episode. But yes, there are procedures. We are going to have a whole segment on another episode to talk about it, but we are acknowledging what a red flag, the definition of a red flag.
And I think it's
I've only ever had to throw a red flag for a cart that's been flipped over or blew through a barrier. And usually when it's a kid, it's always, if they go through a barrier or something, it's almost instant red flag, even if they're not hurt. It's just best to check on, especially at club level, where most of my racing experience is at. So
yes. So, and that's kind of what I was going
to go ahead.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was going to explain as well. So on the club level and clubs, I'm again going to use Prairie City because most of us are on a team there, but we also are at other tracks and trying to implement the same systems. But it is important for people to know what to do. And Phil's saying he's only had to throw it one time, but that doesn't mean we don't have a plan, and that doesn't mean we don't sort of know what comes next. And then also, we're going to
his point was there's only, they're throwing it for toss drivers, but he's thrown it a lot. We've thrown it multiple times in a race.
Unfortunately.
And we're also going to make sure that we are getting the driver the quickest care possible as well. We do know there are parents. We are parents. And please understand, majority of the time, all of the staff that is working on the track 100% wants to update you on what's happening, but you also have to understand we're making sure that the driver is getting the attention they need first. Okay, so a lot of times people are like, hey, I have parents at the grid wanting to know, or we have the parents that run onto the track trying to just get information, and it's like we are trying to relay the information, but we also at that point as a staff are making sure that if there's immediate medical attention needed, that we're already working our systems and we don't want to disrupt that system, but at the same time, we do want to update you, and we do want to make sure you are relieved as well. So please try and stay patient during a red flag situation. But yes, we do understand parents do want to know. Again, we are all parents, and that's
We understand the instinct.
yes. So race director interjection here. A red flag is thrown when medical attention is needed. So we got to keep that in mind too. That we
It
want
can
to
also
make
be thrown
sure.
if the track is blocked and can't be fixed in time. You can throw it to stop people from running into a barrier, gets knocked across the track, and no one there to fix it. There are other, but generally it's a safety issue with somebody ejected or cart rolls over.
Yes.
Ooh, look at
All
that.
right, here we
There we go.
All right. So we did have a question about white flags. What if you see a white flag twice?
If you see a white flag twice, I would keep racing till you see the checkered. That was probably an error by miscommunication between the tower and the flagman, or a number not a wrong number or something given a white flag given to the wrong guy or something. So always race to the checkered, because a white flag is just a courtesy. So always race to the checkered. If you see two whites, see three whites, I'd keep going till the checkered.
Clearly, they meant a different flag, man. Couldn't have been you.
No, it wasn't me.
Nah.
All right. And then we are, oh, here we go. Let's talk about this cross white and green flag, the white and green flags, Phil.
Yeah, the white and green flag crossed. That's a halfway mark for the drivers that are having a hard time getting all the way through the race. They really want to know when halfway is, so they like to say when they can pick their move to take their best exit or the best chance on their move. But most of the time it's just because they're getting tired and they want to know how much further they have to go.
Looking at you, legends.
What you're saying, oh no,
Masters
actually
flag,
it's the
yeah,
legends.
it's the Masters flag.
And the legends. But yes, David, you are correct. It is also a courtesy flag. So, Phil, down at the bottom there too, black and checkered.
Yes. That one, that's one that gets usually thrown when there was an incident on the track and we were discussing it over the radio, and we still haven't come to a conclusion. But the race has come to an end with the checkered, but the black flag means that there is still something being discussed by the race officials, race director, and there's usually some more coming at the end of that. That's the only reason for a black and checkered, is there's issues being talked about still, but the race has been expired.
All right. And then let's talk about, okay, so we talked about a green flag. Let's talk a little bit about yellow flags. So let's talk about a yellow flag first, and then a full course yellow flag.
All right. What's the meaning on your paper that shows what's the wording for it in the rule book?
So NKA says a yellow flag presented by any official on track signifies an area of caution on track.
Yes.
So basically, a yellow flag is to warn you that there is something on the track. Okay. So yellow flag means look around, find where it is because it's in your path. Okay. And then did you want to add anything?
I'd like to add to that also. We also tell all of our racers that there's no passing under a yellow flag. They all need to slow down and address the situation, find where it's at, and address it, and let the other racers behind them know by slowing down. Throw a hand up, let them know that we're slowing down, and you do not pass under a yellow flag, because a lot of the times on our tracks they're real narrow, and we've got some blind corners, and you don't always know what's coming around that corner. So when you see yellow flag, especially when it's being waved aggressively, that's usually something really bad around the corner, and you don't want to get involved in it yourself. So slow down and don't pass anybody. I mean, if you get past, there's penalties that will be assessed, but you don't pass anybody and you slow down so you don't get involved in the accident also.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the IKF rulebook mentions reduce speed, and it says immediately, but we're going to say safely and maintain your position. So the NKA definition is a full course caution called via the use of 2 yellow flags, but there's 2 different.
Yeah, we don't use that over here. I've only seen that used like when we go to the national events where they have the really big tracks, and they will do a full course caution with the 2 yellow flags side by side. But we don't really do that.
So that's
if we come into a situation with the full course yellow, it's more likely going to be a red flag situation at that point.
Yes. So there is a definition in the rule book for it, but what we're just saying is for NorCal specifically, we don't use full course 2 yellow flags.
No, I have not used them here.
And then there is a question: what's the penalty for passing under yellow? I believe it's like it's different at every. Let me check. I don't think there's. I want to say it's like a local procedure type deal.
A race director
discretion.
You're going to lose the number of spots you passed. You pass 2 people, you're going to lose 2 spots. You pass 1 guy, you're going to lose that spot. Basically, you're not allowed to pass. There's not a bonus penalty, but you don't get to gain any advantage. So if you make a pass under yellow, you're going to lose that spot.
Yes.
I've seen people pass under yellow and give their spot back, and the race went on. There was no
perfectly acceptable
penalties assessed at that point. It was they were giving up their spot.
You didn't see the yellow until you were halfway through the pass, and if you give it right back, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
In my humble race director opinion.
All right. So we talked a little bit about black flags. Let's talk about the difference between a rolled black and a waved black. Did we?
All right. So on a rolled black flag, generally it's a warning flag. It's something that's going to be pointed at you. I will have a number board in my hand and a rolled black flag, and I will point it at you. And most of the time, when a driver sees that, they know what they've done. I will usually get an acknowledgement back like, okay, yeah, oh yeah, my bad. And it usually won't go on anymore. If it does continue, which it has, then they will receive a full black flag, and that means to get off the track, which the number panels, I use a number panel for that also, just so there's no misunderstandings with other racers.
All right. And then I think Jason, can you zoom out on this a little bit, please? But we're gonna go back to the comments. Put it in the comments if you have any questions about the flags. Can we see? There we go. All right. So again, we discussed the green flag. We discussed yellows. We discussed white flag. And checkered, black flag. All right, yeah. So, oh, now we have a question. Will you show rolled black multiple times?
Generally not. Because if I end up getting the rolled black flag if you get the rolled black flag pointed at you, we've been talking about you on the radio probably for a number of laps. We've been watching you for a minute, and if you're getting the rolled black flag, we basically letting you know that, hey, that's the last time. You've already done it a few times.
You get one warning. You get one warning. That was your warning.
One warning. We've been watching. We've seen it maybe 1 or 2 times, and now you're getting the warning. And after that, you will get the black flag every time.
All right. Did we talk about these yellow and red? Do you use the yellow and reds?
We do use the yellow and red. That's a restart. We had to use that this weekend for the kid karts. But yeah, that's if we start the race, if they get the green flag and something happens, like 50% of the karts get tangled up in turn 1, or the race director decides that he did not like what happened after the first few turns, he can have me throw the red and the yellow flag, which is a complete restart. And they will, at that point, will be a full course caution. Everyone will be throwing flags on the track. All the corner workers will be throwing just a single yellow flag, because that's generally what our tracks are small enough. That's good enough. And then we will line them up again. We'll usually have to get the grid guy out there and line them all up accordingly. But there's something happened at the beginning of the race that the race director didn't like, or there was a bunch of karts that over half the karts got taken out in the turn 1 or 2 or something like that is usually when a restart happens.
All right.
Don't use that very often. Usually if there's a bad start by somebody pulling out of the tram line, that penalty can be assessed during the race.
Particularly at club level as a learning level. With the younger kids, sometimes the time to teach them is right as it happened. That's kind of what went down this weekend, and the race director decided he needed to talk to these kids and set things right, and he did, and it went way better after he did. So they're learning a lot of things at once, not just flags and safety, but they're learning to race, to drive, to deal with the whole weekend. It's a lot going on in a 5-year-old, 6-year-old's head. So sometimes you got to do it right then. The time is now. But we don't use it very often.
All right. Yeah, I did. I was going to mention that about Donald restarting the kid karts this weekend. It was necessary. It was a little confusing, but it was necessary. And yeah, kind of what Mark is saying is just teaching them young. We're trying to get our kid karts to understand, and we just see their little faces, and they just press the gas and go. So it was very cute to see the kid karts, I do have to say. But we did have a question about the blue and yellow procedure. So I'm assuming that's the blue and yellow flag.
Yep, for the back markers. If you can let them know what the wording is on that for the.
Yeah, what's the rule book say? And
The
we'll
rule
fill
book
it
say
in.
for that.
For blue with stripe, blue flag with stripe. The blue flag, NK says a blue flag is shown to a cart or carts being lapped by faster traffic. When a cart is being lapped, he will give you the right of way. He will give the right of way to the faster traffic and will point, if possible, to the side of the cart he wants the faster traffic to pass on.
It's a tough one because most of the people getting the blue flag are new to the sport. And so again, they're learning a lot, and now suddenly they've got a crazy flag thrown at them, and they don't know which way to go. They want to get out of the way, but how do I get out of the way safely? Where, what? And so I think we just need to discuss it a lot because it's a big safety issue. The leaders are coming fast, and nobody wants to see that happen from that. So
yeah.
And it usually happens a lot in the younger classes with the kid karts and the junior one pilots, where there's a big learning curve of kids that get a lot more seat time than others, and but they still have to race in the same class because that's what their age group is. So that gets used a lot with the littler ones more than the adult classes. So that's why it's one of the very important flags for them to understand and why it should be talked about a lot more also.
All right.
as far as procedure, I think what she wants to know what to do, and I think what you need to do is find a safe place in a passing zone, take your corners on your regular line, but go down the straightaways to one side or the other, and don't swerve. Stay to one side, the side you start on. Stay there, and let the faster guys go by you. You don't have to let off much. They're coming, and they'll be by you quick enough. But stay out of their way. Go wide around the corners. Give them the line.
And if it's safe, point them to the direction you want them to go to.
Yes. I was trying to find it in the IKF rulebook, but yes, it's pretty much almost similar. It'll be shown to a driver or drivers when they're in danger of being lapped by faster traffic. Give the right of way to the faster traffic and will point, if possible, to the side they want the faster traffic to pass on. Yes, that's what I was just about to say, Michael Ting. Hello, Michael Ting. But does that mean that you just stop right where you are because you want the faster people to go by you, Phil?
Absolutely not, because they create more of a danger that way. That's the worst thing to do.
Yes. And then here's our other friend, Bill Connor. Hey, Bill.
Who?
Everybody wave to Bill.
Bill Connor. Must be some new guy to the sport.
But all right, all good questions. All good questions. It's up to but yes, also good point. It's up to the faster guy to get by safely. So what should the faster driver do when they see this flag, Phil?
A lot of the times the faster drivers have experienced that situation already, and it's usually I've very seldom seen the faster driver create the problem. It's usually the lap guy slowing down really quickly, which surprises the faster driver because he's just expecting him to slow down a little bit and point him off to one side or the other side. Because fast guy knows the rule of the blue flag also, should know the rule of the blue flag, and expecting that driver to come to a slower pace and point the guy to one side or the other. But when they completely slow down and almost stop, there could be 2 or 3 carts racing at that time in a row passing them. And if they see a guy slowing down, they go to split them. And then that's when trouble happens. So that's why slowing down, almost stopping when you get the blue flag is Not the
worse.
right thing to do. It's very dangerous.
Yes.
The faster guys usually know what to do when they come around there, and they know what to expect. And when they don't get what they expect, that's usually when something happens that you don't want to happen.
All right. We did talk a little bit about single file restarts, but let's talk about the cones. And we call them punch off cones. I
Commitment
think they're
cones.
I think that's what I think their proper name is, commitment cones. But we're going to talk a little bit about the cones. Let me see. Oh yes, Michael Ting. If you have no experience at all, don't do anything at all. The faster drivers will get by you. Yes. Just don't suddenly stop.
Or to cross the line. And what happens, I think, is they see they got a blue and they panic and they trying to get off the line. They will actually cross the line where the fast guys are coming, be more in the way than they're actually trying to be, and that's an issue. Yeah, and yeah, it's that's why we got to stay on this, because it's not easy. It really isn't. It's not easy for either side, and it's dangerous. You know.
So the cones also mean something too, right, Phil?
Well, yes, they do. A commitment cone, I believe. We use a punch off cone at most tracks that I go to. It seems a little easier because we try to use a slower pace start closer to turn one. We've been doing that for a while, and I try to do that at most of the tracks that I go to, and it tends to prevent less damage and carnage in turn one. Slower start into turn one, closer to turn one, is usually a better way of less carnage, and we've been doing that for a few years now, and it seems to be working out. I take it with me to other tracks that I go to and try to implement it if possible. But I have a punch off cone, and a lot of people use that. There's some tracks that will use, they have two cones where they have like the leader can take off between the two cones, which is fine too. But I kind of pick the one and try to use it wherever I go, because I use a lot of the drivers, or at a lot of the tracks that I go to. So I figured keeping it consistent at all the tracks I go to is the best way to do it. The commitment cone, I think they use that at the national level when they're gridding up for the start. They have a cone at the very end where if you're not in line by that commitment cone, then you have to start at the back. They're not going to let you back in once they get to that. Once the leaders get to that commitment cone, you got to start at the back. If like you spin out at the beginning and you can't get back to your spot before that commitment cone, which is completely different from the starting cone.
Yeah.
So what does that indicate? When they're coming to a rolling start, and the pace setter is the number one car is setting the pace. The punch out cone means this is where he takes off. Correct.
Correct. Where the leader would be setting the pace.
Right. So that's the point when he can start, when he can give it full gas.
Correct.
The field is now set. Okay, tram lines. What are tram lines and where are they?
Mark, handle that one.
Tram lines. Tram lines are lines that are parallel with the racing track. There's usually two sets of lines, and when you're girded up and coming to a rolling start, you are to remain within the tram lines. Your wheels need to be inside the tram line. And we only have inners at Prairie City, but Don and I have talked about it, and I think we're going to go ahead and add the outers. I think it's a really good visual indication of where you're supposed to be, especially younger kids. You're trying to get them to do the rolling starts right, and it's easy for them to see, I need to be here. And basically, it's just two slots that keep them in proper orientation prior to the start. once the green flag's waved, we're nuts. I like them. We use them at Sonoma, and they're good. I like them.
All right, guys. Well, we are coming up almost to an hour. So we're going to get ready to start closing. If anybody has any last questions, put them in the chat. We'll go over any last questions on the flags. Anything for Phil, anything for Mark or Jason or I, put it in the chat. But as we start to close, we're going to go around. Where are we going to see you guys next? And go ahead and give your shout outs. So we'll start with Phil and then Mark and then Jason.
Oh, man. I don't know where I'm going to be at. I got the weekend off coming up. I think
It's a miracle.
all right. We got a weekend off, actually.
We do. We do.
Oh, man.
We're at Rock Sonoma, the 3rd and 4th.
Yep. Rock Sonoma, 3rd and 4th will be our next race. It will be at.
All right, Mason, what's your question for Phil? Put it in the chat. But Rock Sonoma will be your next race.
Yep.
Both of you together?
Yep, we'll be there. We'll have Bill Conner with us too, probably.
Yeah. Bill, where are you at? Bill. Everybody wave to Bill.
Bill.
We miss you, Bill. He's not gone. He's just at work.
He's shy. You know, Bill.
All right. I need the link of this episode to send to some people. Yes. So share this episode. The replay will be on. The replay will be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. It will be shareable either way. Mason, you never asked your question for Phil.
Josh
has a question for Phil, though.
Is that for Phil?
Sorry.
Or do you want to hear my take on it?
I mean, you can both. You could either of you can answer it. Sorry, I was trying to
I'll-
read the other.
I'll answer it.
comment.
So when you do,
Go ahead.
once the green flag goes, the tram lines, the leader's already gone. You can pull out of the tram lines once the green flag.
Race has begun.
Well,
I'm glad we agreed on that.
Anytime prior to that, there can be a penalty assessed, or the green flag may not get thrown.
Yeah.
Glad we agreed.
So there's that. Okay, here comes Mason. See, everybody has a fan club. Everybody's part of the Phil and Bill and Mark fan club. So, but yes, we want to thank Phil and Bill and Mark. And
all of our corner workers too.
Johnny,
Yeah, can we shout out our crew?
I'm trying to list them. Johnny, Amy, Kevin, Psalm, Baker. I'm gonna throw
Jeff
in
Lentz.
Tommy because Tommy's awesome too.
Jeff Lancero.
Jeff. Yes. I didn't miss anybody, right?
Nope. Our scorekeeper Ashley and our scorekeeper Lisa. Those are two of my favorites.
All right. Yep. We're gonna be Sheridan, Texas, y'all.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, I don't know. where Jason went.